and I cut way back to the yarns that I had experience with that I knew would sell well. I'd been carrying jigsaw puzzles and the loose leaf tea, but I added children's toys. That brought in a whole different market.
Hello, everyone. It's Sean from Thrive with another episode of the Power Up, where I meet with successful small business owners and operators to learn about their business strategy so you can take their insights and level up your own business. Once your business is ready to expand, knowing where to start can be overwhelming. Our guests have some creative solutions for how they've tackled tricky problems and turned them into growth opportunities. Now, let's dive into today's episode. All right. Hello, everyone. Our guest today is Laurie. Laurie is the owner of Apples to Oranges, and Apples to Oranges is a brick and mortar shop in Main Street in Silverton, Oregon. They feature yarn, jigsaw, and 3D wooden puzzles, children's books, toys, loose leaf tea, and they're focusing on creating one item out of another. So an example of that would be yarn to scarves. The shop was opened in July of 2013 when Laurie became concerned that all the retail shops in downtown Silverton, Oregon were closing. Although she had no experience in retail, she thought a yarn shop was something she could do. She had doubts from the beginning whether yarn alone could succeed as a business model, hence the name Apples to Oranges. Thanks so much, Laurie, for joining us. We're happy to have you.
Thank you. This is interesting to be here.
Yeah. Well, first question for me is, how'd you get into yarn? Do you have a long history with, it sounds like that's the origin of your kind of business. So what's the background there with you personally?
Well, I've been a knitter for a long time, and I do love the fibers and colors. And there was another yarn shop in Silverton, and when it closed, it was kind of the last of the retail shops in town, and it just I happened to be on city council at the time, and that was a real factor to wanting to try. I had encouragement from a lot of the knitters in town that it could have been a success. It could be successful, so I went for it.
Wow. How did you feel when you were first starting it? I know you said, or at least I mentioned in your bio, you feel like you had concerns, but talk to us about, like, what were the first, what was that first year like? What, you were nervous?
Well,
Where was your head?
yeah, I made every mistake in the book, but I was learning as I went, and
Hmm.
I started by one of the things I learned from the shop that closed was that she really didn't carry very much stock, and so I overbought at the beginning, and that was a mistake because it took a while for people to even realize I was there. So to have all this stock was just very counterproductive and very costly. So that was um, that was a big mistake the first year. Also, yarn itself, there's a reason that a lot of yarn shops have been closing, especially in Oregon, but California too, as far as I know, is that everybody's just working on the margin. The farmers, the weavers, the spinners, the yarn companies. It's a tight, uh, difficult market. So to sell yarn, you have to order it in quantity. I mean, obviously, like a lot of things, you have to order a lot of different colors, a lot of different products, and a lot don't sell. So it took a while for me to realize that that was a mistake. And then the second thing was that I started out thinking I had to have two employees in the shop at all times, and that I didn't want to be here very often. Big mistake because
Hmm.
that was very costly. So it all took me a while to figure out what my best practice was.
Got it. So definitely something we hear, or at least I hear pretty commonly with, folks in our audience that talk to us is purchasing questions. So you mentioned right off the bat, your first year you had a lot of surplus in your shop, and it sounded like you said that was a little painful. So how did you, maybe like what's like a mistake you made there with buying the wrong product or buying too much of the wrong product or whatever, and then how did you like course correct? and how have you kind of like honed that in over time?
Well, eventually, well, what really helped me was the pandemic, which was not exactly the way you want your business to go, but it
Hmm.
did force me into, well, I had to furlough employees, and I ended up with just one employee when I was open, while I was able to stay open. And I also just I gave away yarn. I had big sales on yarn. The and I cut way back to the yarns that I had experience with that I knew would sell well. So so that made a big difference. But diversifying really helped. Yeah.
Yeah, you said diversification of your client,
No, of my product.
of your product. Okay.
Yeah. I that's when well, I'd been carrying jigsaw puzzles and the loose leaf tea, but I added children's toys. That brought in a whole different market, you know, a whole different type of customer.
Hmm.
And the Legos were were a good way to bring to also get the word out that I was here, but I can't afford to carry Legos anymore. They're just the profit margin for a small business is just almost nil. And then when I found out that products I was carrying from Lego that were selling at for much less money at the big boxes was really discouraging.
Mm.
So they didn't do well for me.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you mentioned that, so diversifying your product offering in your stores really helped drive folks in. So I know some of our, listeners, they hear one side of the argument, which is shrink your product line and really focus on like a single product or like a single collection of products and really just get that good and be the best at, selling loose leaf tea or whatever. And then the other side, like what you're talking about, we hear it too, is diversify to the point, you're drawing some, new traffic into your store. So it sounds like you've obviously gone the diversification route. Um, how would you, for someone listening, how would you help them kind of decide, or what was your decision making process behind growing the product line outside of yarn and loose leaf PETA toys? And it sounds like it's benefit you, but what was that like, thought process like?
Well, first of all, the fact that I had the experience of having a lot of excess yarn pretty much it really didn't give me much choice what I was going to do. I had to figure that out. I was when they talk about 6 months and you don't want it on your shelves.
Hmm.
Mine was on the shelves for 3 or 4 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's not good. Not a good business model at all. And the tea, uh, there's a good reason there's so many coffee shops and tea shops. The profit margin is excellent. It's a constant renewable. So I don't know what advice I'd give anybody, but because this is a small town
Hmm.
and maybe in a bigger city, focusing on one product would be fine. But things change a lot in a small town, and so I just try to be aware of what the community is interested in.
Got it. Do you do anything with so like maybe another way to think of the question is like how did you decide which additional products to stock? So like, some folks do, what we call ticket analysis to see what products sell well with other products. So have you done anything like that in your business? And it's like, oh my gosh, every time someone buys a 3D wooden puzzle, they buy, you know, X, amount of yarn from me, and it's just crazy weird correlation. Therefore, I always have to have 3D wooden puzzles in stock. Anything like that you've done?
No, I'm no, I can't say I've done anything that's scientific. What I carry are the things that I like. And
Mm.
my reasoning at the time was, well, if it doesn't sell, I'll have a lot of fun uh, putting it together or working with it or
Sure.
eating it because I do carry chocolate truffles also. But and that's really worked for me because I'm of a certain age, a certain certain demographic that um, my my clientele are mostly women who knit
Mm,
or crochet, and yet yarn and tea just go together. And
sure.
and I have a lot of men who like loose leaf tea, and so I do. So they come in with their wives, and they see that I always offer tea samples when they come in the shop of my special that day, and I sell a lot of tea to. And then they come back and buy it in bulk. They just that's really good. And then I've got a lot of kids that come in to see if I've got new toys, and now I'm
Hmm.
carrying art supplies too. And that's because I did the research I did on that was again very personal. I took an art class here in Silverton, which has a reputation of being kind of an art town,
Hmm.
and realized that there is no place in Silverton that people can buy art supplies. They go to Amazon or they go into Salem. And so
Hmm.
I've been stocking up on art supplies. And so far that's been good, but it's only been a few months.
Got it. And then do you, I also hear this with, small town shops, is some sort of like loyal following and some, it could be a membership or anything like that. Do you do anything along those lines with your customer base?
Well, um, thanks to Square, I do offer a discount if they join our newsletter. I send out coupons. So I have I think about 4,000 customers that I send emails to.
Hmm.
Uh, try to do it about at bi-monthly. So so um so they kind of know that they'll get a 10% coupon, and I advertise new products through that. And that and the integration with Shop and Very has been very helpful. So I mean, I don't mean to plug your company, but Shop and Very is really great. I appreciate you guys. It's been really good for me, and the support's been excellent.
That's great. Very happy to
Yeah.
hear that. Thank you. So on like a tactical front, so 4,000 subscribers on your newsletter list is a great amount of subscribers. So congrats on that. Um, what kind of so be curious a couple things like what kind of discount are you offering? Is it that 10% coupon you mentioned? And then also how are you what do you do like tactically to like grow that newsletter list? Do you have a strategy there?
Well, we also through Square when they get a star for every sale, and then when they have 10 stars, they get a 10% discount.
Hmm.
But the strategy is when they come in and we ask if they are receiving our newsletter, and they might say no, but they get this 10%, and I say, oh well, let me get your email too, and then you'll get our newsletter, and I do send out coupons periodically, so that helps
Okay.
it grow, or my employee.
Got it.
Yeah.
And then you're just like right there on the spot when they're purchasing, like typing in their newsletter, or you like writing it down on a notepad and doing it later or something
Right.
like that.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And then I have knitting. I do have a solid customer base of knitters that are very supportive.
That's great. Well, thanks
Yeah.
for sharing all of that. Really, really appreciate it. So thinking a little bit out in the future, like next, I don't know, 12 months or something along those lines, is there anything you have goal wise that you're hoping to achieve here in the near future?
Well, to make a profit again this year would be a
Okay.
major one, and so I don't have apart from that. I'm just I not really. I try to be as much a presence in the community as I can be, and but but no, I think at this point I just want to continue the path that I've got set out right now, and and hopefully it'll work. Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, let's get wrapping up here. I have five sort of quick response type questions for you. We'll just kind of run through the list, and don't worry, they're pretty easy, so don't get stressed. What we have as number one is what would you say is your fastest growing sales or marketing channel?
My fastest growing marketing channel probably and right now I'm in a slump as far as online sales go. I haven't I switched to a different what platform would you call it?
Yeah.
And
What'd you
I have
switch to?
Shopify,
Okay.
and I haven't from WooCommerce, and I haven't been able to maximize online sales. That would be my goal this year, but it's been 2 years now, and I'm getting kind of frustrated about that. Google AdWords is just too expensive. I I did experiment with that a few years ago. I realized that I was spending my entire profit on paying for the Google AdWords, and
Hmm.
so that's obviously not a good stratagem. And so I'm trying to organically expand my web sales. Ravelry.com, which is a mecca for knitters and crocheters, has been good, but I'm not getting it's really random, the sales
Yeah.
that I got.
Okay. And you said Ravelry, Ravelry.com?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I see it right here. Okay. Are you doing advertising on there, or are you just like
Yeah.
communicating with fellow knitters and driving them to your website?
No, I do advertising every month. My and and that really does account for most of my web sales, but they've
Hmm.
been really not good. They've not good. So
Got it. We'll hope for the best there.
yeah.
Let's see. So number two here, I have what is your favorite resource? And that can be like a blog or a YouTube channel to grow your skills or your business.
Well, again, I'd say Ravelry.com. Yeah.
Ravelry. Okay.
But again, that only is for the knitting. And I keep trying to. I paid for the Shopify Genius. I last year I paid quite a bit of money comparatively to what my my gross income is, and it wasn't any help at all. I'm trying now to find another without getting burned again like that.
Sure. Did you pay, you said a genius, did you pay a Shopify employee, or did you pay like an agency that helped you build your website? Who did you pay?
Yeah. Well, they have a list of experts that
Yep.
yeah, and so I picked one of their experts, and I really I really I really feel in that I'm out in the desert by myself. I just don't because they did not help me at all. And I'm just not quite sure what, but I
Sure.
hadn't really thought about goals this year, but that is always a not ever present one, because from the beginning I said that I didn't think I could do it in this community unless I had a good website. And
Yeah, it's tough.
yeah, and now I'm really discouraged. I was paying too much for WooCommerce. That's why I switched.
Hmm.
And I like Shopify, the features of it very much. I think the website's very nice, but I'm just not getting the traffic.
Yeah, it's tough. Got it. Well, thanks for sharing. Number three, what piece of technology can you not live without in your business?
Oh, internet.
Okay. Bare necessities.
I get really basic, but
Uh-huh.
well, I couldn't live without Shopify. I just, um, I mean, it is essential to me, absolutely from the get go. When the stock comes in, that's the first place I go. That's just my reports, everything, and then the alliance with Square is superb. So
That's great.
that's really great. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Number four, what piece of advice do you have for business owners really looking to kind of step things up in their business?
Um, Take it slow and um, listen to the good advice you receive from because yeah, and uh, don't yeah, mainly don't rush in. Have a good business plan and and don't overspend at the beginning. Start
Got it.
slow. Yeah.
Okay. And lastly, number 5, where can our listeners find you?
Well, I'm right here on Main Street in this my town of 10,000 people, and the shop it's in a great location in the middle of the block on our historic district, and it's a very cute shop. The building itself is 125 years old, and
Hmm.
it's yeah, and Silverton's a beautiful little town here in the Willamette Valley near the one of the great Oregon State parks, Silver Falls State
Okay.
Park. So it's really a nice place, and I hope you come visit.
Yeah, that's great. And how about your website? We'll get some of our listeners to go to your website and visit you.
That's apples2to oranges.net.
Apples to oranges.net. Nice and simple. Well, if you're listening to this, make sure you go and get some traffic to your website and buy something for her. But great. Thank you so much, Laurie. Really appreciate having you on the episode today.
Thank you, Sean. It's nice talking to you.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Power Up by Thrive. I hope you enjoyed our deep dive into strategies that you can use to grow your business. If you're ready to take these ideas into the real world, head over to thrivemetrics.com. That's THRIVEMETRICS.com to sign up for a 30-day free trial of our business management software.